Hello, this is Vitualis the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. When playing with the black pieces, every now and then I face up against the Scotch game. And against the Scotch, I absolutely love playing Queen H4, the Steinitz Variation. Against the Scotch, I have actually never lost with the Steinitz Variation, and at the time of this video, my record is 10 wins and 1 draw. Let's have a look at this game. So this was a daily game format, and my opponent had the white pieces, I with black, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, the Scotch game. So of course, captures, knight takes back, and immediately now, queen to h4, the Steinitz Variation. Now, the Steinitz Variation is something that's often unexpected for the player who plays the Scotch game. They simply do not see it very often. It looks like it's directly pressuring the pawn on e4. Almost looks like it's a forced win. Now, this is technically a bad move, and it can be refuted, but the refutation of the Steinitz Variation is not obvious, and almost certainly at the beginner intermediate level. If white doesn't know what it is, they're not going to find it on the board. What I've found is that usually white will make some sort of mistake, potentially a blunder, that leaves black in quite a good position out of the opening. This is what happens in this game. My opponent decided to immediately deal with the tension in the center. This doesn't work, as now queen takes the pawn on e4 with check. They block the check with the bishop. I now capture the knight, and effectively I have won that pawn for free. So I'm now up a point of material. White has no compensation for that pawn. If we look at what Stockfish thinks, minus 1.3. So black is significantly ahead, according to Stockfish. And more than that, given it's only 1 point of material up, I am up on material and have a better position. White now sort of compounds error on error, ostensibly developing their bishop, attacking the queen, but leaving their g2 pawn undefended and very soft. Queen captures a pawn, attacking the rook. Rook now forced to go to the f1 square, losing the right to castle on the king side. Very good for black, minus 4.5, heading towards minus 5 on move 8. One of the absolutely fantastic things about the Steinitz Variation is just taking the Scotch game player out of their comfort zone. Now at this point, I'm up 2 points of material. I'm in a good position. So the goal is to develop, not stuff up, and then trying to force trade of pieces so that we can simplify towards a winning endgame. So bishop, so that I can now long castles. They do sort of a waiting move. I long castles, they develop. I now bring the bishop all the way to h3, so lining up for a battery against that rook. They decide to push the queen here, I think, to prepare also for long castling. But here, what I saw was I could take, and effectively I end up trading my bishop for a rook, and a rook that's meaningfully developed as well. I get rid of a whole bunch of pieces from the board to simplify. Fantastic. That's what I'm going to do. So take, and at the end of that is now minus 5.5 or so. My rook also has control of the open d file. Fantastic. I develop, yep, force some trades. And that's very good because I can now undouble my c-pawns. They long castles now. I decide to move my king so prophylactically so that it sort of protects all 3 of those pawns. That's fine. You know, they're trying to push. I push a pawn, attacking the bishop. Bishop is forced to move. So again, a bit of tempo. My bishop now develops, attacking that pawn, which comes with check. So again, a little bit of tempo. And now this pawn is relatively pinned because I want to trade pieces while white probably wants to preserve their pieces. So I'm willing to potentially give up a pawn for that. So, you know, put pressure on the pinned piece. There we go. Take. These pawns now doubled. Excellent. I push a pawn. Let's trade some more. Excellent. And the bishop. And now, keep an eye on that bishop. So my opponent now, as we move into endgame, has one rook, one bishop, while I have the rook pair. And the rook pair will often dominate and overwhelm a rook and bishop, especially once many of the pawns are off the board. And this is what we'll see as we move forward in this game. This bishop, in fact, will not move again until the penultimate move of the match. So I push my rook to the second rank, often a very, very useful move, controlling the second rank, placing pressure on that pawn, but also potentially cutting off the king from moving into the center of the board. The king needs to be active in the endgame. They push a pawn, attacking that pawn, two attackers, that's fine. I push my pawn, giving an extra defender. They push their pawn here, and these form kind of like an island, but they're not really contributing to anything in the game, which is on the queen side of the board. I now move my king, so firstly developing the king, moving it towards the center, also giving a defender to the rook. So now I can potentially take and try to force a trade of rooks. They decide to capture my pawn. I take back with rook, asking for a trade. We do so. Excellent, which now transforms this pawn into a passed pawn. So the tactic now really is to try to support that pawn with my king, well, not there, so that that pawn can move towards promotion. And this king needs to try to do something, but it can't come through this barrier. So the king is forced to come this way, giving me more time, or they don't have enough time. So king starts to do that, I move the king, and as you can see, my king is now already defending that pawn. There we go. And here we are. This pawn can potentially now move towards promotion. Now, obviously, that square is still defended by two pieces, so that I can't move it right away. So they make a move. Now, rook here. So potentially, I can force a trade of my pawn for their bishop. And once that's done, I'm the only one with a piece left. I'm completely winning. So they're valiantly trying to play on, pushing those pawns. My pawn moves forward. They opt not to trade. Bring my rook back, giving space for my pawn to move forward. There we go. And now with check, defended, king can't go here, or here, or there. So it must go here or here. So king has to move out of the way. Can't stop promotion. Promote to queen with check. And the king is now boxed in by their own pawns. So this is now the only space that the king can move. So it's a matter now of just shuffling my king and queen, my rook and queen to move towards mate. So check, check, check. One final move. They have to move the bishop to block the mate, and done. Good game. GG. The main takeaway from this game is that the Steinitz Variation is a very winning line against the Scotch Game by Black. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.